Good morning and welcome to the live series Straight Off the Bat. Join us on Thursdays as we speak to individuals across multiple industries who will help you understand financial literacy and education. If you're joining us from YouTube, thank you so much. Don't forget to like and follow our page to continue seeing content that will help you manage your money. I'm your host, Pauline Joseph, and today we're discussing banking safely with digital payments at First Citizens. Our guest today, I'm so delighted to have him. He is the OG, Mark Cape. He is the Manager Digital Business Solutions in the Digital and Electronic Services Unit of First Citizens. He has over 20 years of experience in the banking industry and holds a BSc Information Systems and Management and MBA with a specialization in entrepreneurship and innovation. So thank you so much for joining us once again, Marky, because you're one of our first guests on this Straight Off the Bat live series.
Yes, I have a few more gray hairs since last time we met. But that's okay. That's all right. Age brings wisdom. Yeah, so
That's
thank you
okay.
for having me, Pauline, as always. Glad to be here.
Amazing. So last time you were here, you had some really good information, and I know that you've changed positions since then. And we are, I think, in a timely position right now when it comes to digital business solutions. And as someone who also has a business, I think it's fair to say that I'm going to learn some stuff today as well.
Mhm.
So when we talk about let's just kind of step back first before we talk about digital banking solutions. Let's just do sort of a brass tacks, as the Bajans would say, about what is digital banking, Mark. Let us know in your words what digital banking means.
So digital banking, what we really do is try to emulate anything that you can do in a brick and mortar branch, you're allowed to do online. That's really the essence of digital banking, is really transposing all those services that you would do and you have to leave your home and go into a branch. We allow you to do online in several capacities, as I'll go later on in the show.
Thanks for that, Mark. And when it comes to this digital space, a lot of people are unfamiliar with it. So
Mhm.
why do you think we basically have to head over to this digital space? Why do you think that is?
I think for one, it's a culture. Uh, People, I think maybe, going to these branches seems to be something of a social gathering, despite the fact that, we have customers who complain about it. But there are several services that you can do online and you don't have to go to a branch for. But I think as a culture, as a people, we have seen a definite uh, uptake in terms of the number of people who are now utilizing these um, digital products and services. There are some who are resistant, and they'll always be resistant. But I think it's a culture change. But it's something that we are seeing heading in the right direction.
And I can definitely attest to the culture change because it's interesting how someone like my mom learned to sew because she looked at videos on YouTube. So that sort of generation definitely may find it a little bit harder to get there, but I don't think it's impossible.
Well,
So
if
let's
your mom could learn to sew, the story I'd like to give, my dad is 89 years old, 89. And he would consistently complain, Mark, I have to go into the branch to do this. And my brothers and I sat him down a day, Daddy, you're going to do online banking. We sat him down for a weekend and we went through, all the processes, how to log in, how to transfer funds, whatever. My dad has not stepped foot into a branch for nearly 2 to 3 years. So if my 89-year-old father can do online banking, anyone can do it.
well done, Mr. Cape Senior. It is possible for all of our brains. I mean, I'm learning Spanish. It's not easy, but it's not impossible.
See, see, see.
Well done, Mark. Well done. All right. So let's talk about banking solutions as it relates to the idea of this need for cash, right? We're going to be frank. We are cash heavy society. You can see
Mhm.
it with our low penetration rates with cards and how we use cards. So when it comes to digital banking solutions, what type of solutions does the bank offer when it comes to helping the customers minimize the need for cash?
You've asked the right guy. So the bank has spent a lot of time, money, effort, energy developing several solutions to, as you said, prevent people from one having to use cash, which, given our current ecosystem, is could be quite dangerous, and really just allowing to do that ease of business. So, of course, we have our online banking platform, which of course allows you to review your accounts, your balances, transfer funds, get a real-time status update. In fact, on the online banking platform right now, you can download and view your own e-statements. So you don't even have to go into a branch to get a statement. You can do it yourself. And very soon, we'll also be offering credit card statements on the online banking platform. So again, something else you don't have to get to the branch for. You can manage all your bills and your payment of bills on the online banking platform, from your utility bills to, I pay my gardener, I pay literally my mechanic. Basically, anybody who has an account, you can transfer funds to them immediately. In some cases, if you're going from bank to bank, it takes 1 to 2 days. However, you do have that facility on the online banking. You can also pay your credit card bill online. You don't have to come into the branch. And the great thing is when you do your credit card payments online, you get immediate access to those funds on your credit card. So there's a lot of depth of and different functionalities on the online banking platform, which makes it very easy for people to transact. In addition to that, we have our mobile banking platform for probably the slightly more tech savvy, which essentially mirrors all the functionalities of our online banking platform in the palm of your hand. One of the additional features that we have there is the ability to, of course, pin your card. You want to activate or pin your card, you can do that on your mobile banking app. Or let's say, for instance, you were to lose your credit card. You think you've lost your credit card. You can actually use the mobile banking app to either put a temporary block on your card. And so therefore, you don't have to call in, you don't have to worry. You're basically empowering the user to manage their credit card portfolio. And let's say it's an instance where you realize, oh shucks, I gave my credit card to my wife, or my wife took it. You can re-enable it. But if it's a situation where you really lost your card or it was stolen, you can block the card immediately and request a replacement card through the app. What the app also allows you to do is manage your alerts, which we sign up all our customers for. So every time you do a credit card or debit card transaction, you will actually get an email or a text advising you of that transaction. So if you're in the middle of the night, you're seeing that a transaction happened on Amazon that you didn't do, you will obviously be alerted immediately and take the necessary steps to block the card. So again, we're getting away from all the cash transacting because you're doing everything online. In addition to that, yes, there's more. We recently upgraded our telebanking platform to be more self-service, as I said, empower the user. So whereas before, you'd call 621 first and you'd automatically be routed to a CSR, now you can speak to a CSR eventually, but a lot of the functionalities that you would have been calling for, you can do. You can pay your bills, you can transfer funds, you can get account balances, you can pin your card, you can activate your cards, you can do all that. So I've given you 3 channels where you can now transact in an online space. And those are focused primarily on more the retail users. But let's speak about the corporate users and the commercial users, because they would have a lot of cash. Why are they accepting cash? Do you want to... we have several solutions from a corporate perspective that allow and minimize the use for cash. So, of course, we have our eFirst corporate online banking platform, which, again, has the same functionality, allows you to transfer funds, pay bills, pay to other banks, pay your salaries. Again, you don't have to do that in cash. You're minimizing the use for cash. Right? And then, okay, how do we now acquire those transactions? We have several solutions, from your MPOS, for your POS solution. We have self-service kiosks that you would have seen in several grocery stores. Those have been pioneered by First Citizens. So we're giving our merchants, our commercial and corporate clients, several solutions where they can accept digital payments instead of cash, and minimizing you from having to come into the branch and deposit that cash, given the current ecosystem. Last but not least, I'd like to mention we don't forget our SMEs. We already spoken this last time. We also have the EasyBiz platform, which we can allow smaller clients, and we have larger clients who use it as well, to accept transactions, credit card and debit card transactions online. And the solution is very intuitive. It allows you can come in on a Monday, and by a Friday, once all your documents are in order, be accepting transactions in an online space through your website, through Facebook, through Instagram, through payment buttons. So, I know I've said a lot, but the bank really has a wide range of solutions to meet the customer's need and really eliminate that need for transacting in cash.
That's okay. If folks haven't gotten it the first time, once this live show ends, they can put it on a replay, and they can also search for Mark Cape on our YouTube channel. And he has a plethora of videos to share, because we spoke about, stimulating the e-commerce space, which we will touch on a little bit later. But I wanna to talk about this conversation around mobile banking, because Free Citizens recently celebrated 30 years. Congrats. I feel like you've been around more than half that time in the banking industry, so we're gonna try and squeeze out that information. Uh, so when it comes to mobile banking, I want to talk a little bit more about that, because we as a society, and it's not just Trinidad, I see it all over the world, but we're speaking specifically for Trinidad and Tobago. A lot of us are literally, this is our stance as we walk around the world. So we feel comfortable with using the phone, but we're not certain when it comes to managing our money from the phone. So can you share insight into how people can protect themselves when they do download the app for Free Citizens, use the banking solutions on their phone? What are some ways that they can enhance the security on their phone?
Oh, definitely. Excellent question. Excellent question. So we recently would have upgraded our mobile banking app. The bank pays heavy emphasis on security and securing customer data. So one, what we use is dual factor authentication, or an OTP, a one-time password. So one, you would of course have your username and password, which is the same username and password you would use for online banking. You use that to log in to your mobile app. But one, the first time you're logging on, you will be sent a one-time use password to validate that Mark Cape is indeed the holder of this phone, and this is his number. So you're validating that you are indeed the person. And what we did as well is that every time you log into the app, you can now use, once your phone is enabled with biometrics, you can either use your fingerprint, you can use your Face ID, to basically as a second form of validation to log into the app. So basically you have that, as I said, that dual factor authentication to make sure that your data is absolutely and totally secure within the app.
And I just want to say, none of these things sound, foreign, because a lot of us have to do this when we sign into our social media accounts. You know who you are. We all do it. I see the numbers. Trinidad and Tobago, we spend a lot of time on social media, so you know about this authentication that's necessary to sign into your social media account. So I think it's great to have these features, additional features, even on your phone. So we want to find out as well about the proactive steps the bank is taking to educate customers, because a lot of us take for granted that we all know what's happening. But before we answer that question, Mark, we're going to go on a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to have this education conversation that we all need to hear. So we'll be right back. and welcome back to Straight Off the Bat, a show that helps you understand financial literacy and education. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you're doing so from Facebook, thank you so much again. Don't forget to subscribe our page to continue seeing content that will help you manage your money. I'm your host, Pauline Joseph, and today we're discussing banking safely with digital payments at First Citizens. We're joined by Mark Cape today, and we have covered a lot of information as it relates to digital banking solutions at First Citizens. But we want to talk about education, which is the theme of this show and has been for the last 3 years. So, what we want to do is find out what is First Citizens doing to educate customers about the benefits of using digital banking services. Mark, over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Pauline. So, one, let me start by saying that, there may be not that many, there may be some less tech savvy people, and we want to get them to use online banking. Not everybody is as lucky. I mean, I could probably hire myself and my brothers to come to your house and teach you how to use online banking, but not everybody has that service. So, what is the bank doing to one, educate people in the use of these online banking platforms, and also to stress the best practices with regard to security? So one, of course, you touched on it, social media. If you go to our Instagram page, Facebook, and especially our website, you will see tutorials and guides in kind of detailing the benefits and how to use the different functionalities within these digital banking platforms. What the bank has engaged in as well is an easy banking campaign. We launched the pilot in April. It will be going full stream within the next month or so. And if you go to any of the First Citizens branches, you will see easy banking kiosk. And with that kiosk, you can actually log in and register for online banking. And we have staff and specific team members who will be there to guide people and to basically teach them about the different functionalities. So you kind of get that one-on-one. Some people may not be able to go online or on the website, but you get that, I guess, hand-holding approach, because we want as many people as possible taking advantage of these online banking solutions.
Good, great information, Mark. And I just want to find out on behalf of folks who are not on social media. I know, shocking, there still exist. What can they do to find a little bit more about digital banking solutions?
So if they're not on social media, they can definitely use the website. However, as I said, with the easy banking campaign, they can go into a branch and just inquire, and they'll be guided through a very competent staff through an actual tablet. We'll log in and we will basically guide you through the different solutions. You can also email the First Citizens group. If you go to the website, depending on the area that you're looking at, whether you want to look at a credit card, whether you want to look at a pause, whether or not you want to inquire about e-commerce or online banking, there are email addresses there that you can send request the information from, and they will give you all the details, and you can call them. They will call you, sorry, and they can guide you through what solution may be best for your business or your personal need.
And for those who are just joining us, we are open to any questions you may have. Head over to the comment section, and the things that we're discussing today in terms of the links, you can definitely check it out on the comment section where you can sign up for future live shows. So we're talking about this digital space, and a lot of times when it comes to change, no matter where you are in your life, change is hard. So when it comes to, kind of, I guess, shifting your mindset, is there rewards, incentives that customers could look forward to when it comes to shifting their, I guess, approach to how they
Mm.
manage their money from the physicality of it
Yeah,
to being online?
right. So first, I would say the reward is intrinsic in nature. So imagine, you have to pay a bill. You have to leave your house. You either have to travel. You have to get in your car, come into Port of Spain, find parking, stand up in a line for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, uh, essentially just to pay a bill. You've If you were basically registered for any of the online banking or mobile banking or telebanking, any of these services, you could do that immediately in the palm of your hand and save yourself the time, the effort, the energy. But from a more materialistic reward perspective, for instance, our credit card programs, you get rewards in terms of cashback based on the different merchants that you'd go to. You get cashback, which is credited at the end of every month or during your statement cycle. And then we also have the My Rewards app, which allows people to uh, gain points, which they could use at different merchants, airlines, purchase goods online. So basically, you're getting those rewards based on using the credit card application. So you would have tangible and intangible benefits or rewards to utilizing these digital banking platforms.
So let's talk about rewards as it relates to time, because I think a lot of us take for granted we can't get back time, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
impossible.
that time is.
Um, it's money, but it's also a sign. It's attributed to happiness. And when it comes to shifting how we manage our money online, can you talk about being in the industry for over 20 years? What are some of the benefits someone who has this comfort level of physically seeing their cash or going to check it, go to cash to check to see the cash versus seeing those numbers on their screen? What can you share to someone who'll be like, no, 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 I like how things are, I'm not going to change anything?
Yeah, I think I was that way once many years ago. Even though we had some of the online banking platforms and being in the industry, there's a certain level of trust or comfort in paying your bill to whatever utility is. And I would stand up in line. I guess I would find the best time when it had the shortest line, but you had a certain level of comfort. However, once I migrated to utilizing the online banking platforms, and I guess it's all about building that trust and assurance. People want to know that, I've paid my bill, it's going to the recipient. And we're actually seeing that trust being built. I have a colleague yesterday who was saying she went to get her nails done. And of course, when she finished, she was looking for the POS terminal and there was none there. And she's like, oh my God, I have no cash. What am I going to do? And the girl was like, it's all right. Just transfer it online. And she's like, okay, great. So people are really, building trust and understanding how that ecosystem works and how it makes it easier for them to transact in that space utilizing those digital platforms.
That's so interesting you share that story, Mark, because I have the exact
Was it
experience.
you? Love
I
it.
I have the exact experience when it came to doing my hair, and I think something happened with the point of sale, and we were like, yeah, just do the transfer, and I just screenshot, the fact that the transfer was
Correct.
done. You
Absolutely.
know, so when we think about digital banking solutions, a lot of times we automatically think about e-commerce, we think about using our credit cards, but talk a little bit about, being able to utilize something that we would have done, naturally. We transfer money, we deposit money.
Mhm.
And I also want to add, as someone who Amazon Mexico, I've actually used Amazon Mexico. There's an option for you to make your order and then transfer money to an account. So, this idea of e-commerce isn't just necessarily using your card. There are ways for businesses to utilize the solutions that exist out there. So, talk a little bit about this ACH space, because I think it's still relatively new to a lot of business owners.
No, definitely. So yeah, so ACH, oh my gosh, my tongue. ACH really allows more your corporate clients to transact in that digital space. And their bills would probably be a lot higher. They're if you're dealing with a corporate client and their phone bill is $20,000 and their electricity bill is $30,000. I'm being arbitrary now. Do you really want to deal with that in cash or even check? So, really and truly, the ACH platform allows for you to do those bill payments immediately. It allows to you to transfer to the many different banks. You can also request wire transfers. You can do several different corporate like transactions within that space. So the one delay, but again, banks are working towards that, is that in some instances there may be a 1 or 2 day delay in receiving those funds. However, I think the benefits definitely outweigh that, seeing that you don't have to deal with that in a cash capacity or go and deposit anything into a branch, given the current ecosystem and the crime situation. So it's definitely a great alternative.
So what is a way that a business owner could feel comfortable, because that delay to me is still shorter than waiting for a check to be
Mhm.
cleared.
Exactly.
But at the same time you have the physicality of the check.
Hmm.
So you feel as though if something happens, you could always say, well, this person write me a check. Versus the ACH, like what is sort of the proof of execution that a business owner could
I got you.
request?
Oh, definitely. So within the website, you would have a receipt, a transaction ID. So you're clearly identifying the transaction. And there will be times that you will have issues with a transaction. I recently did a transfer to a colleague in another bank, only to realize I put in the incorrect account number. What happened? It literally was the recipient bank identified that it was an issue. It was an invalid account number, sent it back to my account, notified me via text message and email, and from there I was able to rectify the account number and resend the transaction. So it's not as if you're doing a transaction and it's going into the cloud and you're not sure what's wrong with it. There are definitely checks, balances, authentication being done in the backend to make sure that your transaction is being securely transferred from one recipient to the other.
And as someone who's built a business on the cloud, it's your friend, guys.
It's your friend. It's your friend. Yes, definitely.
It's easier to search for something on the cloud than it is on a filing cabinet. I've tried.
Definitely. 100%.
Tried.
I'm converted.
So, you spoke earlier about statements, having your statements online. And for someone like me, who, although I'm kind of native to the digital world, it was a difficult time for me when I had to transition from a paperless statement. It's a process,
Mhm.
because I just feel like having the physical statement so I can see what the money was spent. It just felt
Mhm.
different.
Mhm.
Versus now, what are the benefits that you can share for a business owner in this digital space when it comes to paperless statements?
Definitely. One, I would say, is the cost in terms of, so yes, you would get your monthly statements delivered to you via the mailing service. However, is the time, you may not come on time, you may get lost in transmission. So definitely you have immediate and accurate access to your statements online. Two, let's say you need a statement for immediate use for some sort of business transaction. What do? You come into the branch, you come into the credit card center, you have to request a statement. Guess what? That comes at a cost. Now you've eliminated that cost. You can go online and download the statement in an e-statement format. And if you really need to, Pauline, and you feel better, you can print it and store it. But that's really entirely up to you. So it really allows you it empowers the customer to really have that information on hand at all times and going far back as well. If you understand, you have I think I could be wrong, maybe 6 months to a year of data um, on the websites. Therefore, you have immediate access to all that information, and that would help with your reconciliation, your spending, your bill payments. Everything there is at the power of your hands.
Yes, it's a process, but I think I'm getting there, because the
Acceptance.
idea
Acceptance.
of it real time, seeing what has been spent and being able to send that document via an email to the accountant, or,
Exactly.
well, mostly I save everything on the cloud now, so it's available to the people that I want it to be available to, versus
The
having
cloud,
those physical documents sitting
cloud
there.
is a safe space. It's a safe space.
It
Yeah.
Yeah, and backups if necessary, but it's I too have to learn.
And just so you know as well, those statements, yes, they're in the cloud, but us as a banking industry, we do several security audits, we do penetration scans, we spend a lot of time and effort from a security perspective to make sure that not just your statement information, your credit card information, your account information is stored securely. And I think that's something we need to stress to our audience.
Thanks for that, Mark. So I wanna have a bit of a Android versus iPhone conversation. And I know some people are like, identity crisis has already has come to the surface. But we're gonna go on a quick break. But when we come back, we're gonna talk about ensuring your security on these two platforms. So we'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Straight Off the Bat, a show that helps you understand financial literacy and education. Thank you so much for joining us today, and if you're doing so from LinkedIn, don't forget to subscribe to our page to continue seeing content that'll help you manage your money. I'm your host, Pauline Joseph, and today we're discussing banking safely with digital payments at First Citizens. We're joined by Mark Cape. He is the Manager Digital Business Solutions in the Digital and Electronic Service Unit of First Citizens. I said it without spelling. Yay!
Excellent job. 10 points.
You have a heavy portfolio, and with over 20 years of experience, we're going to try and squeeze as much information from you for the next 30 minutes.
Squeeze away.
So, Mark has been with us numerous times. You can check it out on our YouTube channel. Just search Mark Cape. I know he is that popular, guys. And you will see all the gems that he shared with us in previous episodes. But today we're going to talk about security. I think it's a very important conversation to have now, before, and in the future. So when it comes to digital banking, we can't have that conversation without having the conversation around phones, right? Because Mark would have mentioned earlier, there's a mobile banking option. There are a lot of ways that you can track your finances there. So if you have access to your money, obviously you want to secure your phone. So when it comes to security, first and foremost, I don't think I shouldn't need to say this, but 1234 is not a password. I just want you to know that, guys, who's ever watching this, it is not a password. For the love of everything that's great, do not do that as a password, right? So
Password isn't a password.
yes, and password isn't a password either. Good point, Mark. Thank you for that. I didn't think I needed to say that, but I do need to say that. So give us some insight, Mark, on things that we can do to ensure to reduce the risk when it comes to managing our finances from our phone.
Definitely. So, the bank takes some onus in terms of ensuring that our backend systems are secure, doing penetration scans, making sure that we adhere to all the association mandates and standards, Visa, MasterCard, PCI, DSS, ISO, the list can go on and on. But, the user of these mobile banking apps and digital banking solutions really have to take some steps towards ensuring that they keep their data secure. So you touched on it first. Password management. 1234 is not a password. Password is not a good password. So it really must have that level of password strength. In fact, you're going to see a lot of different sites and solutions mandating that it must be 10 characters long. You must have a number. You must have something capital, something lowercase, uppercase. You must use a symbol. So make it as complex as possible, but you also want to remember it. I did a cybersecurity seminar recently, and the new term, I may be paraphrasing, is using a password phrase versus just a password. So it doesn't have to just be a word. It could be "I love doubles 1979," and you incorporate, the different characteristics. And of course, I love doubles, so I'm going to remember my password. And no, folks, that is not the password for any of my online banking platforms. As you mentioned as well, it's not just about password, it's about biometrics. So as I mentioned, on these solutions, you will be able to use your Face ID, your PIN for your phone, your fingerprint to additionally secure and authenticate that you are who you are. What I will say as well for our online banking, our telebanking, not telebanking, sorry, online banking and our mobile banking, what you will do with any solution is be challenged. So you would actually, when you register for this service, you will set up um, security questions. So if you're doing a transaction such as adding a payee or doing a transaction that is not, within the norm, you're accustomed to doing $1,000 transactions, and all of a sudden you're doing a $5,000 transaction, you will be prompted to enter these responses to these questions. So one of the questions may be, "What's your favorite color?" Blue, obviously. So there's a lot of built into solution to protect and secure. What we recommend as well, and we've actually mandated, is that everyone registers for the alert management, and you can actually manage it within the online banking platform. So if you decided, what, I want that anytime I do an ATM transaction, I want to be notified, or a POS transaction, or above a specific limit, you can basically enable those alerts within your platform so you know if there's any untoward transactions going on within your accounts.
Mark, I thought your favorite color were green, yellow, red. Okay. Um,
Another platform.
I kid. Um, so I want to reiterate some of the things Mark mentioned because for me, my password phrases are usually something that I've internalized and I've dreamed about, but I've never shared with anybody before.
Ah,
So
I
yeah,
like
so I
that.
always remember, always throwing, some symbols and numbers. But that has helped me a lot. Knock on wood.
Not gonna- Definitely. Wonderful.
So far,
Wonderful.
so good. So let's talk about your phone type. What type of phone do you have? An Android or an iPhone?
I'm all Android. I'm all Android. Anytime anyone hands me an iPhone, I'm like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? Like, I'm sorry. Maybe I should switch, but I'm all Android all the way. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, because of my work, I do both. But for you, how do you have your biometrics for your phone? Let's do a little audit on you there, Mark.
So on my phone, for my mobile banking app, I use my thumbprint, or have the ability, but I mainly use the fingerprint. I shouldn't have said thumbprint, fingerprint, or my PIN. All right, I do not utilize the Face ID. Some days I may have a bear, and some days I may not. So I tend to use my thumbprint.
That is good to know. And I think folks out there need to be able to apply these features to their phone because you still have to authorize the phone in order to do it.
Yeah,
So
it's really best in class because it's not that you're setting up these biometrics for the use of the actual mobile banking app, but a lot of the functionalities within your phone. Sometimes I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, when you have to download an app, when you have to change specific settings, when you have to register for your Gmail account, all these things require a certain level of biometrics or confirming that you are indeed the holder of this device or that this is indeed your number or account. So it's really about being in line with best practices with regards to security and authentication.
thank you for that. And for me, I when I use the iPhone, I do have the facial recognition, but also there's the authentication factor where you get send an email making sure
Correct.
that it's you put in the code that's there. So let's talk about that for a second because being able to have access to email and assigning the correct email to your account, how important is that when you're setting your digital banking solutions?
Oh, 100%. I mean, we had challenges initially. where some customers may not have an email address. Although I think that's pretty rare right now. Or, our database, if they didn't have one, they just put email at email.com or something arbitrary. So we would have done a lot of cleanup exercises, and of course stressing during the onboarding and the KYC interaction with the customer that they would provide us with a valid and accurate email address and phone number, because the same OTP one-time password that is sent, you do have an option in a lot of the cases to send it via email address or phone number, because in some cases, if you need to do a transaction, there may be a challenge. You may not have access to your email, but you'll be able to get a text message. So in a lot of cases, it's an either or.
Such an important part of doing business is having an email. I personally believe it's more important than even being on social media. Um, so when it comes to, you mentioned know your customer, and this has come up in previous live sessions, and I want to tap in your knowledge of that 20 plus years in the banking industry. A lot of us as consumers feel overwhelmed by all this information that you're requesting. I want you to answer two questions. Why is that important? One, but two, how has that changed with the digital space? Like, are you now requesting more information because of the digital space?
Mhm. Excellent question, and it's something I always get asked. You have to open an account or apply for a loan, and you have to go into the bank, and you have to provide an an arm, a leg, your cousin's first name, a lot of information. One, that information is really required to protect the customer and to validate the customer. In some cases, we're trying our best and working with the different regulatory bodies to see how we can ease that frustration and provide, I don't want to say less information, but provide it in an easier way. What I didn't mention is before, one of the functionalities of First Citizens is that now you don't have to go into a branch to apply for a loan or a credit card. All of it can be done via the website. All your documents can be loaded, scanned, and loaded onto the portal, and then it would go through the adjudication process and approval process. And with regards to the credit cards, let's say for existing customers, once you provide that information, we can have the card to you in a matter of days. So we are binded by specific mandates based on our regulatory framework to provide that information, but we're trying to utilize or leverage these digital business solutions to make the process as seamless as possible.
Thank you for that. And for those out there who may feel overwhelmed, is it one of those things once the information is there, it's on file, it doesn't have to follow up again? Like, how does that work? It's done and dusted.
In some cases, it doesn't that necessarily need to be provided, but it needs to be validated, because you may have provided an ID card or a passport previously that was expired. So we would just have to validate or provide updated documents where applicable. So there are some cases where you wouldn't, but for the most part, you would have to provide updated documents when you're doing or requesting any of these specific services or transactions.
Thanks a lot for that, Mark. I just want to shout out on a comment by Siddhartha. We're not gonna make it public right now because it's very emotional, but we wanna we wanna ask if you can drop us a line on the form and maybe give us some more insight into what exactly you would like us to assist you with. Because right now we're not clear on how we can assist you, so definitely need some clarity there. All right, so we're going to go on a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about, in terms of financial sensitive information, we want to really hone in on the security discussion and expand on it a little bit more. So we'll be right back with Mark Cape from Free Citizens. welcome back to Straight Off the Bat, a show that helps you understand financial literacy and education. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you're doing so from Facebook, don't forget to subscribe to our page to continue seeing content that will help you manage your money. I'm your host, Pauline Joseph, and today we're discussing banking safely with digital payments at Free Citizens. We're joined by Mark Cape. He has been on this program multiple times and shared multiple insight, but we could never have too much information when it comes to managing our money in the digital space. So, welcome back, Mark.
Glad to be back. Glad to be back. I'll send you the bill.
Yeah, I'll redirect that to the Bank Association of Trinidad and Tobago. Okay, so when it comes to for citizens, you recently celebrated 30 years. Did you have a lot of cake?
Too much. Too much. It's not helping my carnival figure, but we'll work on that in the next couple of months. It's okay. Lots of
Uh,
celebrations. Yeah,
I want to say with digital banking, you now have more time to work out.
definitely. 100%. See, it works. It works. Yeah, more time to get to the gym. If I could just do the gym online now, that'd be great.
We can't help you with that one.
No.
So when it comes to digital banking solutions, I feel it's important to have the conversation around e-commerce, right?
Mhm.
We would have touched on it a little bit on a previous episode. You could check that out on YouTube, guys. And we'll put in the comments. But when it comes to the digital banking space and as a business owner, what would in your experience, shared would be the biggest hurdle in that space?
So previously, the biggest hurdle in the e-commerce space was the actual onboarding process. It was very technical, very difficult. You needed to have somebody who understood the industry to integrate. However, we've worked with different stakeholders, or different gateways, with e-commerce generators, which provide solutions to allow for that integration to be as seamless as possible. So we try to do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. There's a lot that goes on in the back end. All our gateways are certified by both Visa and MasterCard, the payment associations. They also adhere to best in class security protocols. So, for instance, we recently upgraded all the merchants to something called 3D Secure 2.0, which basically validates you as the customer. So you get that level of added security while using the e-commerce. But on the customer side, what I will say is that again, the onus is on you. Um, a bank is not going to ask you online. There are a lot of what they call phishing emails and fraudulent emails. Just this a week, I received an email saying that another bank, I was pre-approved for a loan, and it said, please put in your login information on the email to, receive these benefits or whatever. And I was like, something seems fishy here. And then when I checked out the email address, the bank's name was actually misspelled. It was actually a phishing email. So these are things you have to look for. A bank is not going to ask you for your personal information. They're not going to ask you for your PIN. Neither is a website. What we do is when you actually put in your credit card information on this website, the information is actually tokenized, meaning that it's using an encryption method. It's transformed into another value that cannot be translated back to the original credit card number, thus securing your credit card information. So we make sure that all our merchants adhere to those standards of tokenization, 3D secure encryption, and basically all the best in practice from all the fraud rules and fraud monitoring. We really try to be very proactive in that e-commerce and digital space because we want our customers to be confident that they can use their credit or their debit card in that online space and their transaction not become compromised.
I could also add to the fishing conversation because, as much as I spend most of my day online and I, built a business and a job there, sometimes we are so haphazard and not paying attention to what's happening. You automatically think, okay, this is my bank or this is a reputable bank that I know about, and you just click versus what you did which is, check the domain to make sure it's correct. And I think that's something that a lot of us have to be mindful of in this digital space when we're trying to do everything all at once all the time.
Agreed. Agreed. 100%.
So we have a question from Ressa Jack. Unfortunately, it's not coming up on our live stream, but we are seeing it on LinkedIn Ressa. So we're gonna ask Mark: do banks and do First Citizen monitor online transactions for values or amounts, just like over the account amounts value? Example, 10,000 and over.
Definitely, yes, we do. So there is actually a limit. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it is $20,000 for external transactions, and I believe it's slightly smaller or lower for internal transactions. So we constantly monitor all that traffic. We have certain rules put in place that would advise us if anything is out of the norm. Because what we do, we basically monitor the spend to determine, okay, if every day you're transacting at $5,000 and one day you decide to transfer something for $25,000, let's just say, that's out of your norm. Now, it's not that you're going to be prevented from doing the transaction, but you will be challenged. As I mentioned before, you'll have to put in, another level of validation, a password, secret question that only you, of course, know to validate. So we continuously monitor from a fraud and risk perspective all our transactions just to make sure that they're, of course, safe and secure.
Thanks for that, Mark, and thanks for that question, Marisa. We also have another question from Ren Joseph. I love this question because it has happened to me as well, but I never thought to ask. I used my credit card at a grocery store, inserted the card in the machine, and the payment was taken, and I didn't even get the opportunity to enter my PIN. Is this normal?
Normal is relative. So I know about this particular situation. I'll try not to be too technical. So there's something on a card called card verification method. So your card can either complete the transaction utilizing PIN, contactless, offline PIN, signature. There are different ways that you can validate the transaction. The terminals as well also have a card verification method. And what happens is when you use your credit card, it on the chip basically says, okay, these are the type of methods that I can transact in, and the terminal says, okay, this is the type of transactions that I can accept. And when it syncs up, there are certain merchants that essentially will say, okay, what I can accept is under a particular limit or a CVM limit, I can accept this transaction with the chip without entering a PIN. In a lot of cases, what the slip that you provided would have asked for a signature. What we have seen though, and just to kind of go into the no PIN transactions, we have of course seen a dramatic increase in the number of contactless transactions or near field communication transactions. It really makes everything a lot easier. I will say that both the associations, Visa and MasterCard, has increased that limit to, I believe it is close to $700. So essentially, you're going to have more opportunities to literally tap and go without having to enter your PIN. However, please note that there's also a timer. So it's not as if you get the card and somebody steals your card and they can tap all over the place for under $700. There's also a timer. So in a lot of cases, although you're using it in a contactless space and not entering your PIN, after, in some cases, every third transaction or fifth transaction, it will identify that, hey, you haven't entered the PIN in a while, and it will instruct you to enter the PIN. So there are certain rules inside it to still keep the transaction secure despite the fact that you're not entering a PIN.
Thanks for that, because that has also happened to me. It's so interesting that you also have my same last name. But like I would tap sometimes and it will work, or sometimes I'll tap and then it will ask for my PIN.
PIN, yeah. So different terminals work differently, but I'm pretty sure that they all adhere to best practice and they're certified with both Visa and MasterCard.
Okay, thanks for that. Okay, Ren has another question.
That's the family, distant cousin or something. I feel so. It's all right.
I mean, we'll have to catch up after. Also, when I log onto my online banking platform, even though I would have entered the correct password, the page doesn't open and I'm asked to enter my password a second time. Is that normal? I've never heard
That
that before.
that isn't normal, and Ren could actually reach out to me if he'd like. That sounds honestly like maybe a challenge with the browser and not so much the online banking site. I could be wrong. It has never happened to me, but definitely he can reach out to me via LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and I could guide him and have one of the CSRs guide him. But that sounds like a very unique case.
Okay, thanks for that, Ren. You can also sign up, Ren, for our newsletter, and once we have your email address, we can link you to Mark. Okay, so we only have a few more minutes, and I want to end this very informative session with just one last question in terms of this banking solution that we're in.
Mhm,
Uh, it's not a choice anymore. I think we're in a world where a lot of us want everything now.
mhm,
And we want to be able to see things more because we're more visual. We're expecting to
mhm,
connect quicker. So when it comes to this space that we're in and the challenges that people may, feel during this shift of change, what word of advice would you give, especially to an entrepreneur in this digital banking solution space, when they encounter these challenges, because it's a lonely place in the entrepreneurship world. So what
mhm.
advice would you give to them, Mark?
I think it's kind of like a rubber band. The longer you hold a rubber band in place, the longer it will stay rigid in that position. Once you let it go, it's going to revert. Um, this is the future. It can be daunting at times. You will have challenges, just as you would have with any even non-digital solution. But this is the way you can grow your business. You can drive your business. You can get an international audience. So you're dependent, of course, on your business model. You're not limited to the local geographical space. You're now in an international payment sphere, and you're going to basically allow you to accept transactions easier, quicker, directly into your bank account, same day, more securely. So definitely, this is the way to go. And this is the way the entire industry is going. If you don't go that way, unfortunately, you may be left behind. But of course, the citizens is here to guide you through that process of change. I know change, can be difficult. However, you really have to come to the point of acceptance, and we're really, really here to guide you along that digital journey.
Well, thank you so much, Mark, for joining us today and sharing insight into banking safely with digital payments for
Is it an hour
citizens.
already? Oh my gosh,
It
that's time.
has been, I
Oh,
know.
let's do it again.
You see, guys, this is why we always have him on the show. He is the most attentive guest ever.
Wonderful, great. But thank you for having me, Pauline, as always. I look forward to the next one. It was great reaching out to you guys. And of course, I'm always here to assist.
And a quick one, guys. We're gonna put in the comments. He has done a Ask a Banker series, and you're gonna get way too much information about Mark. If you want to know about it, click in in the comments section. So, thanks again to Mark for joining us today and sharing insights into banking safely with digital payments at First Citizens. Sign up to be notified about the next live show via the link in the comments. And as always, be sure to like and follow our page if you're on LinkedIn and don't miss a single live show. Thanks again for joining us, and I'll see you soon. Bye.